Hello. In this video, we're going to continue with Loki project. So we had a change in Loki project. And I did a video on it, so you can watch it. I will put the link somewhere, maybe here or here. So the problem was the parser was going very slowly, and I thought that this isn't the best way to do the parser in. So what I did was I changed the way we were doing the parsing, and I used parser combinator pattern, which is a functional pattern, but it helped us just enormous amount. So now we have a really simpler parser. If you want to know about parser combinator and also what we did in the parser code, you can watch the other video I'm gonna link. But let's jump into it. So parser combinator is just basically building parsers based on smaller parsers. So now I want to build this parser that parses my structs. So for just a quick recap, we can now parse any these kind of expressions. So we can parse booleans, unsigned integers, unsigned floats, signed floats, identifiers, and also strings. So with that, let's parse a struct. So a struct is nothing but an identifier equal sign struct curly bracket open any amount of types identifier and types, and finally a closing bracket, right? So it really looks to me much like the function call. So I'm gonna use that. Okay. I did the wrong key. So let's copy this, bring it here, okay, paste it. So yes. So we have identifier. So we parse an identifier, right? Okay. Then we get the identifier. Then we try to parse an equal sign. No. What I want is, first of all, I want to parse any amount of white space and just throw them out. So you see these at this here, we can have any amount of white space and it's valid. So I'm just gonna ignore these. So I have a function that parses white spaces. So I'm just gonna use that. So white space, it returns something. So I pass the remains again. Okay, cool. So can I make this LDoc window smaller in here? This is actually nice to have documentation in here. What's the problem in here? Oh, okay. Good catch. So then we have this, which is does not. No, I know that this needs to be mutable. Don't tell me what to do. So next, after the white space, I'm gonna parse. Actually, let's just get this back, and I'm gonna parse an equal sign. Again, any amount of white space, right? And this can be 0 or more. Yes, cool. So again, any amount of white space, and then I'm gonna parse a keyword. So let's do that. Let's parse a keyword, which I have a function for. And keyword, you see, all of these are just functions, and this is zero dependency parser. We don't use any kind of library. There are parser combinator frameworks in Rust, but we don't use one because it's really simple to write one. Okay, so we got the keyword I want to parse, which is struct. I want to parse the structs. Okay, pass the remains again, and I get and I get the struct keyword, which is not important for me as well. So until here, I'm just parsing nonsense. I just need this identifier, which is important for me. So I come down and I now try to parse. Why I have two of these? Why I have this and I have this hover thing? I don't know. I have started to using my old Emacs configuration again, and I have some problems with it. So where were we? Okay, we need to parse a character. Okay, after struct, we also have any amount of white space. And after that, I'm gonna parse a character, which is a curly bracket open. Again, any amount of white space. And finally, we are at the loop. Actually, you know what? Maybe we can start from here. So in here, I'm gonna say the loop. It's not called args, it's called ident types. Right? It's a vector of parsed objects. No, it's not a vector of parsed objects. It's a vector of tuples of parsed objects. And it's not necessarily completely parse objects, but I'm gonna say parse objects. Parse object is basically anything, an enum containing anything that we can parse in this parser. So a char, uint, int, float, string, keyword, identifier, etc. So what I'm going to do for the identifier, I'm gonna parse an ident. I'm gonna rename this. Okay. Y iglot rename. Okay, I don't know how to use this. Okay, so I parse an identifier, I get the remains, and I get an object, and I push the object, and it's of course is going to be a identifier. It's ident types. And after that, so imagine I have something like this, something like name string, huh? Then I have a comma, and I have, for example, age int, something like this, right? So I'm gonna then after this, I'm gonna parse another identifier. Do we have anything for types yet? Any functionality for types? No. And also, I think we should just pass this. I mean, think of this as an identifier because user can have defined. We can have user-defined types. So they are identifiers. So let's just think about types as identifiers and make it so easy for us. So after this, so this is going to. I'm gonna call this a better name. So this is identifier response. Ident response. Ident response. And I'm gonna also do another one of these and call this type response. It's also an identifier. Type. Okay, type response. Get another remains. Not push object. Don't do this now. I also want these to be a tuple of parsed objects. So now, this is not object. This is ident object. And this is type object. So I'm gonna pass a tuple of ident object and type object. So this is where we push what we parsed. Finally, we do a comma. It's not important for me, the result of the comma. I basically ignore it because it's not what will cause us to stop, right? Why is that? Why this is I don't know. First of all, this is okay. Let's solve this one by one. So we get a comma. No. What we get is a remains, as always, and nothing, because comma is not important for us. And it's not actually a thing. It's not actually, no, we cannot do that. Let's get the code back. Because it's important for us to know that a type, that a struct is going to be, why it's doing this? Oh my god. I don't know why it's showing this to me like this. Can I full screen this? Yes, better. So the thing is, we need to be aware of the last comma, right? So in the last comma, if not, we do not break. Actually, you know what? Let's just break on the last comma, and then we parse the final curly close bracket. Of course, we need. Oh, we didn't handle one thing, guys. So we after this we are going to have white spaces. So we need this, and also we didn't parse the colon as well. So after name, any amount of white space. After, then we are going to have a parse character. So let's just parse a colon. After that, any amount of white space. And after that, a type. And after that, any amount of white space. And after that, a comma. We are redoing the loop, so it should be fine. Then we break. We do parse the final curly close. So let's create a type for structs. So a struct is nothing but a string, which is the identifier, right? Which is the name of the struct. Actually, no, that's not the case, because the structs by themselves, they don't have names. When they are assigned in the declarations, they have names. So struct by default doesn't have any name. So we just need a vector of tuples of parsed objects and parsed objects. Okay? Let's pass a struct. It's not the case for me. It's ident ties. Okay, cool. So let's write a test for this to validate this. Let's just use this. Okay. Function test parse struct. So what is a struct? We do a struct. Oh, we did something really wrong. Really wrong. So we are assuming that this is the declaration. This is not. A struct is nothing but this. That's where we were wrong. So we don't need this, right? So we don't need the identifier. We don't need the white space. We don't need the parse jar. We don't need the white space. We basically start from here. And this is going to be for start, it's going to be input. Okay, now it's okay. So parse struct is a struct space some name curly bracket some white space, name is going to be space string, age going to be int. Right? This is going to be what we should parse. So nothing should be remained. So what parser combinator does is it tries, so you rewrite a function to parse something. It doesn't matter. So, but the thing is, this function should have one really important rule. So all your two important rules. One is that all your functions should have the same signature. So for example, in my case, all of them takes just one string, as input and return a parse result, it's okay. And also, your functions shouldn't touch anything that they couldn't parse. And basically, it's more of an immutable pattern, and I'm doing it in an immutable way, so you don't change what you cannot parse, which is really helpful. So let's just use this. This is going to be a struct. So in this case, we don't have anything left to parse. So the remainings are just empty string. Okay? Okay. So we got a struct. It's going to be a vector. It's going to have a vector of tuples. So name, toString, and parsed object ident age. Actually, this is not going to be a string. No, it's just going to be parsed objects. It's going to be parsed object ident name. I should fix this copying the string every time. It's not really wise to do this. So we get this, do a copy. So this is not, sorry, so this is name and string, and this is int, and I'm going to say this is a, okay, this is age, okay, cool. Let's just ignore this for now. So let's just run this. Let's try to vterm. Let's do cargo test parse struct. We have compile error? Really? Okay. Okay, in here we have a compile error. Why we have this? In previous iteration of the loop, we used this. So should we do clone? So let's do this. Okay. So we got unexpected. Okay. I think what I created is not. So in this loop, I think we have a problem. So let's take a look. So we take this struct, we parse the input, we get the remainings. We parse any amount of white space, and then we take a open curly bracket. So can I do a print line in here? So to see what's in the remains now before going into the loop. Oh cool, I have a terminal. Do I have any tmux session? Yes. Let's go to Loki. Let's do test parse struct. Cool. So now, okay, so did we have a print? Did we have the print? No? Why? Why we don't have any print in here? Why we don't get this? Test parse struct. Okay, how is that possible? Okay. How is this possible? In some of these parts we are returning, actually. One of these is returning. Okay, so we have the 1 and the 2. So after the 1 we don't. Oh, right. Okay, this code is wrong course it's wrong. Because, so we have this. Okay, so what was the code again? We did on. Okay, this is necessary. This is wrong syntax for Loki. Our test was wrong. Okay, now what? And what I was afraid of, it's an infinite loop. So we are not exiting this loop. Okay, so why? Why is that? So every time we reach in here, So what I want to do, okay, so in here, I want to do two things. First of all, please print this for me, right? Okay, this LSP client is really not good. In here, let's just clone them to make this printing works. Oh my god. Okay. It says no method for parse object. There's no clone. I can implement. That's one of the simplest things in the world. Okay, now it's okay. So I'm gonna print this, and also in here, it's going to be like just this. Okay, run. Why you don't give me any results? Why? Okay, is it that problem that Rust cannot print while testing? Is it because of tmux? What was the test name? Test parse struct. Okay, no output. Okay, so what is this problem? There's always there is a way to escape this, which is using parser. I think we should first of all make this a public function. So what's the error? Okay, and we should do all of these public. Can I run this now? Parser struct takes an input, which is our struct name string. This is going to be slash and backslash t backslash n, okay, comma backslash n backslash t, age, which is going to be int backslash n, close. It's going to be this, and to string. What else? Unused result type. Okay, that's okay. Okay, what else? Okay. Also okay. So please return a result. You know what? Return a parse result. Return a result of not important and parser. Okay, what's wrong? First of all, let me zoom in so you can see. What's wrong? Expected results found this. Um, parse result. Parse result is a okay. 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 I changed the configuration to be able to better see the errors. Okay. So it says that I expected an enum of results and okay, okay, okay. I know you. Okay. Please. Okay, cool. So this should give me enough. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna also print this, if we can, to visually verify that we are okay. Nice. Okay, not this. This. This should be okay now. So let's run it. Let me close this one and do not cargo test, cargo run. Okay, we see the infinite loop. The remaining age colon int has is repeating itself, right? You see. So why is that? Let's go into parser. Let's find struct. So why is that? So after we parse, so we take age colon int. So what we do in here, we try to get an identifier. Okay, but what we did for okay. What we did for this name had also yes. So this is not the case. Let me try this. Same. Yes. Okay. So I take the identifier, right? So you know what? And so it's name and string. Oh, I think I get what's wrong. I think so, you know, every time I'm trying to parse this, I'm basically putting everything inside this remains thing. So in one place we are skipping remains. That we shouldn't. Let me close these. Okay. So you know what? At every time, print the remains. So this is 1. After this, this is 2. After this, this is 3. After this, okay. After this, this is 4. And this is 1, 2, 3. This is 4. And this is 5. This is 6. So hopefully by here we can understand what's the problem. Right. Okay. Let's run this again. Okay. So let's watch one of these from start. So 1 is name string age int. 2 is why it starts over. You see? 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1. Okay. Okay. So you see at 1 what we do is we just get the white space. So the 2 does not have any starting white space. That's correct. We are basically losing this part. Then at 3, we should probably get the name. Then we get, okay, this is the problem. No. So we get any amount of white space. Yes, so this is because this doesn't change. Then we get a colon. Okay, what happens after 5? So at 5, we have a string. But what happens is we do this. Okay, so there is this. I missed one. So first of all, this is 6 and this is 7. So let's run this again. So after 5, we get the string. Okay, 6. We have the string and comma. At 7, we get the comma. And we have this string, right? The remaining is this. So the problem is after the start of the loop, it tries to do this one more. So basically, at every iteration of so basically we are doing a loop, but this string is getting rewritten every time. I don't know why. This gets rewrite. So this loops over. Okay, what happens in remains? In here, for example. So we have white space. We try to do this. Okay, remains is this. I'm seeing that remains is this. Okay. Okay, I think I see the problem. So the problem is that can I do this without let? That's the problem, exactly. So what we should do, okay, all of these are okay. I'm gonna tell you what's happening. So I'm gonna change this. Can I change this? Loop remains. Right? This is also, so this is start is from remains. This is remains. Okay. So this is, okay, I don't need this. Starting is remains. Okay, we calm down. We don't do this anymore. We just do loop remains and we just keep overwriting this. Loop. I don't need this printing. I know what's happened. This is also loop remains. This is nothing. This is loop remains. Loop remains. Loop remains. Oh, you know what? There's a simpler way to do this. So let me tell you actually what's the problem at first. So the problem is when we try, so basically when we do shadowing in Rust, I think what it does is basically defining a new remains variable and bounds this its a scope to this loop. So when we exit the loop, the remains start pointing back to this here. So what we need to do is not defining this as a new thing, and what we should do instead, say let whitespace response, and then do remains equals whitespace response dot 0. I don't care about the other part. Close this, ignore this, have this, ignore these. Okay. Same. I need it's also a white space response. Remains is white space response dot 0. I don't need this, I don't need this. Let colon response remains is colon response dot 0. We don't need this, we don't need this. Basically the same code. Type response, and we are done. I think we fixed it. Let's try this out. Okay, we have a line 30 for 8 here. Yes. So remains age and int. Okay, why we have a error? It's not an infinite loop anymore. So let me ignore these. So I just print this. So this is struct field. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the remaining actually at the start. It's not or, it's remains. Run. So the remains now. Oh, okay. So that's the problem. So after the comma, oh, come on. I just missed one. I just missed one. Now this should work. Yes. So we get this struct. I don't know what is. Oh, this is the remaining. Okay, that's correct. So we get identifier name, identifier string, age, int. Correct. So let's go and run the tests. Test. Nice. So now, since types are also expressions, so we should use, first of all, at expr function, we should add structs. Struct should be before idents. Yes. Okay. Okay, so struct. And also one other change. So I want this type object to not be ident but also be expr, because I want to have other types as well, and identifiers are expressions as well. Let's run. Okay, we pass. Now let's add another one in here for specifically for structs. Make sure we pass for expressions. So if we have a struct for, let's say, name string, and let's say payload is, make this pretty, so payload is another struct that has, for example, created at, which is going to be a time or date. This doesn't matter. Any amount of white space. I can actually, let's just have this like this. This is valid. I think this is valid. Let's see what it will parse this to. It will parse this to, of course, a parse object struct. So a parse object struct is a vector of parsed objects, tuples basically. So let's do a vec. Let's do a tuple parsed object, and where's my autocomplete? Parsed object ident, which is going to be name dot toString okay, so let's also have parse object. It's not parsed object, it's parse object. Parse object, it's also going to be an ident, and it's going to be a string. Vector, okay. It's going to be payload, okay, and parse object ident. It's not going to be an parse object, sorry. It's not going to be a identifier. So it's going to be a struct, right? And this struct itself was going to have a vector parse object ident created at, and parse object ident date. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Okay, I'm gonna check you. But first... Okay, cool. So, hope this works. No. So what we get... Oh. Okay, I think I didn't do something. I think. So at expr we call struct. At type, okay, we do expression. And so okay, so let's start with a simpler form of this. Okay, so let's see if expression can detect a, so I'm gonna ignore these. Okay, or actually let's just have this. Okay, okay, who cares? Let's just have this like this. So let's run this. I don't know if this pass or fail. Let me comment this. Run, run. What happened? Okay. How? Run. Oh my god. What's wrong? Okay. That's news. Okay, that's the problem with this, I think. No, that's not. Because so we get two struct fields. Name, string, created. Oh, okay. The payload is gibberish. I think it's okay. Okay. So let me just ignore these. Close this. Run. Par? Why? Okay, pass. There was a problem. Okay, so we have the simplest form working. So why this complex form is not working? So struct something something payload something struct something date. Let's run this again. So we get the name right. How? What? How? I don't get it. Name, okay. Then we parse created at, and then we parse name again. How? Um, and it's not even from this one. Oh my god. Why this is so stupid? Um, couldn't parse this. It cannot parse this. But why? Why you think that loop has ended? You have the comma. And also, in a more important question, okay, let me just change this to be updated. That to make sure that we're okay with this test. Oh, it's parse. Oh, okay. No, it's okay. So we get the name string updated at date. We parse these two and we get the result. Okay, that's okay. So this is the other one. Okay, okay. So name string payload this struct field ident name. Okay, so we get this and we cannot parse this payload. But why? Why we cannot parse this? Why we return when we just reach this? Why we cannot say that types are also expressions? In here, what I'm doing is saying that type response expression this. And I cannot parse the expression. Let's do print line parsing type for field ident object. Ident object. Nice. Okay. Can we run this? Parsing type for field this, for field this. Parsing type for field this. Oh. We don't even reach here. That's nice. And weird. How we don't, I mean, what's the difference between this and this? So, what's wrong? Did I do something stupid in the test? A struct, comma, payload, colon, struct, something. I don't think so. So, what's the weird reason that this is not working? I just get the remains. Parsed ident of field this. And here. Payload. How? How is this happening? That's actually really funny. I don't know what about this funny business. But I'm gonna call it actually. It's not. I don't think it's a important bug. We're gonna fix it easily. But for now, I think it's enough for today. We are closing in on the parser. Actually, we can just start the code generator, but I want the parser to have at least the structs. Other types can come later, but I at least want structs now. So let me show you that now we have a declaration test that is passing. Let's say test parse. Yes, in here. You see that we can parse declarations of different things. And I think we can start the code generator, but let me just finish the struct and also write a better test for deco. I thought we have a better test to test it against all expressions. And then we're going to start the code generator in C, that generates the code in C, the output, and see where it goes and how it goes. So hopefully I can finish the parser on my own. And you see this is not really doesn't have any kind of tricky stuff. I just gonna play around with the parsers, I combine them, create new parser. That's that basically. So thanks for watching. If you like this content, please subscribe, like this video, and you can contact me on Twitter, Gmail, and GitHub. Until the next video, goodbye.